to do that work. I mean, it won't be something we'll have to chase them down.
The thing that we have to take into account, though, we all have to have plans for so many different functions of our work. The fire department has to have plans, the ambulance service has to have certain plans, the health department has to have certain plans, we have to have certain plans, and they will put together an all hazards plan that meets the needs of all of our agencies and help us put it together in a format, because, you know, to sit down with that plan and, you know, granted, yes, we've got a plan, we've had to do a plan for the last several years in certain areas, but this is the way that most people are doing. And what I liked about it was that when it's all over with, they give us a copy of the plan in a Word file. And if a year from now we've got a minor change to the plan, we don't have to go back to them, it's not copyrighted, it doesn't have to be retyped. We make a few little grammatical changes, a few changes to it, and we can keep it up to date for a few years until we need to have somebody else step back in with us.
What are we talking about time frame?
6 months or so.
That's from the information gathering phase, going out and looking at all, talking to all the agencies, dealing with the 911 centers, all the fire departments, any agency that might be involved. They go out and they gather that information. They have little forms where they have questionnaires that they pass out, and you answer the questions, and then they start building the plan from there. And it was about six months out, they should have a working copy for the county.
Then, once you got that, then be up to us to figure out how we're gonna implement it, what we, who's gonna do what, all that, or is that covered in the plan?
That's covered in the plan. I think you have to sit down and see what our resources are as the plan's built, because we can write in there that the Allen Creek Fire Department's gonna provide all the shelters in Allen Creek, but if they don't have the people and the manpower and facilities to do it, it's nothing,
It's a realistic thing.
it's a realistic plan.
It's a good starting point, and then you build out from there. Once you know what the objectives and your role and responsibility is, then you can build from there. What does it take to get it done?
And every time you have an incident that involves some part of that plan, you have an after-action review of some sort that you can update. Say, what worked right here, what went wrong, what do we need to change? We need money, do we need people? And then you update it. And that's what Alan was saying. The best thing about this, it's not copyrighted. You can go in there and you can tweak it yourself to keep it updated.
Well, I think that's what each of you want to do, because, you know, you still got to put the person in there.
Yes.
Certain parts of the plan apply to different agencies, but it's all part of a comprehensive approach. One of the things that we found with the Duratio, that you had several people that planned on using one particular bus service or one particular agency to manage this. Well, the problem was you had 10 different agencies that was all using the same agency to provide a particular service that wasn't available. So it's got to be all of us planning it together, because if we don't, we all plan on using the health department to perform a specific function, and then it's not realistic when it comes down to reality.
And let's get back to that. Definitely put this and discuss it next Thursday. I think in the meantime, thinking of immediate down now through March or whatever, with winter coming, is there things that we need to look at, be helpful, anything as a county commission, I guess? I heard or seen at least a couple of heads a while ago, we were talking about if there's some way we need help with generators, that might be a start. In some places that may not be the issue, but some
It
places.
has been this year.
I mean, with Duval itself, you know, speaking for Duval, I mean, you know, that's the reason we built our new building for shelter in place. I mean, we've got showers, gas for the hot water tank. I mean, you know, we heat and air. So a generator, you know, for us would be the big.
We surveyed every building or every fire station in the county and got information. It's been approximately 2 years ago. If you recall back when we had the power off for a week and a half then, and we looked at what everybody needed and everybody felt like it was a concern then. And then we went 2 years without another problem, and it just kind of, we had other priorities that were more important for all of us. But
It's sort of a wake up this year.
But that's what got us started with Lincoln Public Service District and the town of West Hamlin, with being able to do the pre-wiring and some of the work on the generators. that got us started there, and then
Yeah, I
this
know
is
this
the
will
carry
kill
on.
Mike Mosto on the water problems over there for government resolved.
He can handle it.
So
Give him-
what,
give
what
him some
steps do
more.
we need to take, for say, trying to get generators too?
Well, I think it, I guess I would want you to look at your facility and what is the demand as far as what kind of wattage do you need? But no use buying something that's too big or too little, but
I think we're already one step ahead of you on that one, unfortunately, because we've all had the same problem. I mean, it's
But how
been
many,
without-
but do we know how many watts it takes to heat the place?
Right, I mean, I
That's the
think
kind of thing
everybody's
I-
for all.
Well, Jim could probably give you, since he's an electrician, he could probably give you everybody.
There's a lot of variables.
I know Alan, that's what we found, trying to get something to fit these water pumps, it wasn't just any old ordinary generator.
There's all, each one's unique, each site is unique and has a lot of variables.
Well, let me, I know we got,
Back 2 years ago when I got my generator at Harts, I had a gentleman come from Generac Generators. He come to my station, a couple of Logan County stations, and they give a free estimate of what size generator you need. He sized my station, he turned everything on in my station, heat, cool, separate on, off both ways. He run cooking stoves, he run anything that we had power. And he sized our station, and we got a generator 2 years ago, and we've run it several times throughout the summer and this winter already, fall, with power outages, and we've not had a bit of trouble. It's plumbed into natural gas. Within 30 seconds, when the Appalachian power goes out, our power comes on, we're up running, we don't lose
You
nothing.
got your money's worth.
We've got our money's worth.
Keep in mind that for these generators that you install, when you have a declaration, and Jason can tell you what I mean, when you have a declaration, every hour that you run that generator is a billable hour as part of your FEMA expenses. So I can tell you that we've almost paid for some of the generators that we bought at our tower sites when we get our check for the derecho back in June, July. So there is recoverable money there if you use it.
well, it will appear, I heard you say Generac, but, yeah, people who have the state bid, is there some vendor there that will come out and do what Jason's talking about?
Patrick did that for us at several of our buildings that Pat Smith?
Yeah, Patrick's.
Master Service Mid-Atlantic. He has the state bid, and he went to the courthouse, and he went to several places around the county and worked up all those numbers. So when that money, some of the money freed up, we were able to have shovel-ready projects, as somebody had termed before, but we were ready with those. And that's something that, what he did was he took the electric bills for a year, and if you have a commercial service, Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, you get charged on peak usage based upon demand. So based upon the peak usage and the demand and your electric bill over a portion of time, they can determine a good idea of what you needed on that generator. And I'm pretty sure that with the courthouse here, did you all provide those, or did he get them from the power company direct? Because that's how he sized the generator here at the courthouse, was based upon your electric demand. Didn't get, okay, so that,
I think he called Appalachian on that.
but he's coming back into the county, or having somebody back in the county next week to do some work. And I mean, I'm more than willing, if you want, we can get somebody from my office to take them to all the fire departments, set up some,
Do we have a choice of who comes?
appointments.
Do we have a choice of who comes from your office?
Beggars can't be choosy, okay?
Um,
I'll let you go around with everybody if you want to be the liaison, that's fine.
No, he'll just stick me,
So,
We got about 800.
so we got, go ahead.
If I just looked at ours from the derecho, the running of our generator for a few days during that time, I think it was about 3 total days. I think we got a reimbursement fee of $840.
$20.
That's 1/5 of what that generator cost. We paid $4,100 for that generator from Lowe's.
That's a good deal.
What size is it?
It's an 1820, well, it's actually, because we're powering it off with natural
It's
gas,
20 kW.
20 kW. And it powers that whole station. No,
The
that's
one
not-
website that I looked at the other day had a 22 kW natural gas, and it was $4,900.
But keep in mind, gentlemen, and then here's what we'll say. There's a difference between putting a residential generator in a commercial building and a commercial generator.
This was a commercial.
Well, and
generator.
whether it's
But
air
on
cooled or whether it's water cooled, I see Jim's gonna agree with me, but go ahead and say what you're thinking, because obviously you know where I'm coming from.
I know exactly where you're coming from. You have to watch, the very first thing you have to make sure, if you're going to go for a commercial application, you want a commercial rated generator, that one that's actually intended for more of a heavier continuous duty and a more sustained peak usage, heavy current flow. Whereas a residential, package, generator, it's built, a little lighter in materials because it's not normally carrying a sustained peak demand on it. You know, it's not running full tilt for 20 hours a day versus 8 hours a day in the evenings and on and off. So, that's what you have to really watch out for. And what you have may be fine, Jason, depending on the variables. Are you gas heat, gas cooking, gas, all that?
And
That's
sometimes if it means
a lot of
putting
variables.
3 of those generators in and doing 3 facilities versus putting in 1 good commercial generator, then maybe the cost benefit analysis says to buy 3 commercial or 3 residential
Light, you know, or
generators.
light commercial.
Like I say, sometimes you have to buy what you can afford.
Yes.
Well, the website just said commercial generator, air cooled or liquid cooled, $49.97, 22 kW. I mean,
That sounds like a pretty much good price, really.
If it's not liquid cooled and you're trying to run it 7 days a week for a long period, you're gonna kill
What brand was
the
that?
air cooled engine.
Owen,
Odin?
something like
It
that.
could be either way.
Well, I think we got lots of opinions here.
The website is just loaded.
I agree that there's certainly a durability issue, but I think what I want to do is find out, I know at Harts, they may have some other need, that may not need a generator, but what I'm hearing is that some of you definitely are interested in a generator, and what would be anything else that we need to look at?
Ice machines.
Ice machines?
I think cots, which, you know, I've talked to Alan a few times during our flood and stuff, but maybe try to pick up some cots where we can actually have them at our station, or, you know, have them, because we're kind of like Bobby, if it floods up that way, I mean, nobody can get to us.
Yeah.
And have something, you know, we got a big loft in our new building, we can store them up there.
It's nice to have these things, but if you keep it all here in this little hole in the county, it does no good to Mud River, it does no good. I mean, I'm, the only person that's gonna benefit is Hamlin. I mean, and I've got family that lives across the county, and I want them taken care of.
They still allow them to Red Cross and take the training, and they'll provide you any equipment that you want for a disaster, you just gotta go take the training. And it was half a day.
But it's very hard to get anything from Red Cross. When we called this last time to get cots from Red Cross, we had to send, correct me, Francis, people to Huntington to get cots. They would only give us 50 cots.
That's all they
So
had.
maybe we can work out a deal with them where we can store some.
They would not, Mud River, they were asked, Kevin told me that they had asked them if they could keep some of these cots for the next disaster, and they were told no. Is that correct?
I've not
Okay,
spoke
that's
to
what
him about
Kevin,
that.
Kevin told me that.
But is it, I'm here to know that maybe we need to, what I heard was, there is limited availability, but maybe we need more people to consider being trained to be Red Cross representatives, and then maybe, you know, you'd have more, my experience has been, the more you know, sometimes the more you get to being there and being trained and knowing who to ask and who to talk to. and
What's-
those things.
What Bobby mentioned was valid about everything being here in Hamlin, and we know that. And we have moved those trailers across the county and parked them based upon weather forecasts and different things in the past. The other thing that we've done is the county has given us a room at McCorkle and a room at the Haydenville facility, and there is some limited stuff at both of those locations. And as wherever it goes, it's got to be locked and keyed and tagged so that when the county inventory says that there's 50 cots sitting in the closet at McCorkle, when you get ready to go over there and open them up, they're truly there. And they're not unfortunately, people tend to use those things. And if you put 2 skids of water in a place, if you don't have it locked and keyed, then when you get ready to use it, some of
Find
it's,
2 empty skins.
Well, there again, I mean, with Duval, I mean, Route 3 floods, I mean, last time it flooded, it was 8 hours before the road opened. How are we going to?
but you're right. You're right, it needs to be spread out. So that's why after this ratio, we've got the place in Harts, we've got the place there in McCorkle, and that's the actual plans. There is some stuff there now.
And I guess it seems like everybody's got, some need. Go back, I heard somebody say a while ago about the signs. How many do we have, 2?
2.
So,
One had been broken down and it's finally been fixed, and both of them are back in
and
service.
we got this, when the disaster in New York, is that when
Those were part of the Homeland Security money that's been made available over the last 7 or 8
they,
years.
and what is the cost of those? If
About
we-
$20,000 each.
Couldn't we, like the signs over on Hamlin's Fire Department, that big display they got, maybe get some of the stations?
Do we know anything about the cost of those?
Yeah, I don't know what they.
13, wasn't it?
I think it was
A lot of people were here, was it?
If somebody's walking around town and they're wondering what to do and they see
Yeah.
this thing saying, I mean, it's not on wheels, but.
Well, how about, I mean, can we use the excess levy money to buy signs? I mean, for like training, I mean, would that be kinda, I mean, we've looked at them from Sam's, I mean, you can get
Yeah.
one like, a restaurant style, but, more
I'd have,
decorative.
I'd have to reread that thing, but I don't think there'd be anything limits you on that. If it's
I mean, you
part
know,
of the
Not to
need.
do when it's not restricted,
Yeah,
just
but
to
we
trade.
took the training part out of that.
Whatever
The
you
great
all
thing
decide.
about the signs that Alan has is Alan can set it, Jason could go pull it out. Alan can set it at your house, if I'm correct, and you can program it, right?
If I've got internet connection.
You know what I'm saying?
And if the sign goes to Allen Creek, I can change it. If it goes to Harts, I'm down the water.
But what I'm trying to get at
We're
is,
dead up right away.
they can put whatever needs to be on there,
Yeah.
and a county employee or a
In,
fireman,
in
whoever.
theory, they can.
Right.
I would really, I really wasn't really thrilled when we got those signs because it was a multi-county project that there were 2 signs bought for every county because of the quote-unquote mass exodus that was going to occur in Washington DC and the westward migration. And everybody along the Route 119 corridor got 2 of those signs. So Logan's got 2, Boone's got 2, everybody down through here's got 2. But Dr. Smith proved it to me when they did the H1N1 clinics at the high school 2 years ago. They surveyed the people coming out of the school. How did you find out about the clinic? 70% of the people were from the signs. It wasn't from any other source. The signs are extremely effective. And I mean, if we could even come up with some money for some fixed signs like that, there's a location right off of the corridor there where all political signs end up there at Allen Creek, you know where I'm talking about, across from Midway School. I've often thought that that would be a perfect place for a sign that the health department, the county, the school board, everybody could use and remotely access that sign and make it available. And even if, before you spent $25,000 or $30,000, if you could put some in some fixed locations, I think it would be something to consider too. But the money that we've seen the last 2 years for the 2 large generators that we bought, the signs that we bought, some of the other things that we bought, it's questionable if that money's even gonna be there this year. Every year after 9/11, the pot has gotten smaller. And we're down to the point where we're not sure that the pot can be there the next budget.
Well, our pot here in the county is getting less too. I mean, Coal Severance down, we're gonna have less money.
But those signs